Hey everybody, Daryl and Holly here for Exquisite Exotics. Coming at you with a slightly longer video this time. We're doing a DIY incubator build. We were looking at needing an incubator this year for clutches and debated whether or not to go buy a pre-made one or build something. We were kind of leaning towards a pre-made one, and then we realized we had a fridge down our basement that we used to use for drinks and parties, and we decided that it had stopped working. And rather than give it away free on Craigslist, or even worse, taking it to the dump, we go ahead and try to build an incubator. And this was our video kind of putting that together. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, the whole project from start to finish took us about 10 hours over the course of a few days. Multiple trips to the hardware store, letting things dry, that kind of stuff. So it's always really good to be able to DIY just because you feel accomplished, and it's pretty cool to see how you can put your own skills to work. So hopefully watching this, it can help you guys out with anything you might want to do, or just see what we did.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, let's go ahead and get into the build. So here is the refrigerator we started with. As you can see, nothing special going on here, just kind of a basic refrigerator. We had to go ahead and tear everything out of the inside, and also all this stuff off the back, all the compressor stuff. Thankfully there was no refrigerant left in ours, that's why it wasn't working. And once that was done, here you can see the refrigerator completely empty, both the inside and the back of it. And you can also see that there's actually a lot of space inside this incubator. So looking forward to getting this thing done. Once we had the refrigerator strip clean, we decided to go ahead and make our heat tape. We're going to go ahead and use 2 strips of 11-inch heat tape on the incubator. If you've never done heat tape before, it's actually very, very easy. We use the actual crimping tool from Calorique to do our crimping. And then we go ahead and use the plastic insulators that you can get to go over the electrical connections. We buy our stuff from the bean farm. And then once it's done, we just add this 1 strip of electrical tape here at the bottom. And that's pretty much it for doing the heat tape. After the heat tape was done, we went ahead and built our false wall. What you're seeing here is a picture of the foam board we used to make our false wall. We started off by making the bottom piece, that's this piece here. It has a middle divider, that's to divide the 2 sections of heat tape, and I'll explain why that's important later when we talk about why we're using 2 fans. You can build it, you can take this divider out, we haven't actually siliconed it in yet, but this divider fits back here behind the shelves. And then the air is going to flow behind it, of course. And then what we'll have to do is at the bottom, we're going to have to make an air gap here, kind of lift this up and make an air gap so the air can come out from behind the false wall. If your fridge is like ours, unfortunately the back's not going to be completely flat, so you're going to have to deal with some ridges. We have 2 different ones here. This one is going to affect the edge of our false wall, and this one's going to affect the middle divider. So we need to make a template. Here's a quick little tip. The best thing to do here would be a protractor, but we didn't have one, so we built ourselves another little tool using some punches and a pencil. You can use whatever you have lying around, just make something that looks similar to this. And then what you're going to do is take some cardboard, put it up against the back wall, and run one edge of your tool against the back wall and the pencil against your piece of cardboard. And you may need a deeper punches or whatever, but as you follow the back edge, what you're going to create is a line that matches the edge of your refrigerator here. So you'll see now that we have the template done, we have a nice little pencil line here. We're just going to cut that out along the pencil line to create our template. And we have one done, I'll show you in a second. This is our done template. We'll go ahead and stick this on the back wall, and as you can see, it fits in there pretty well. So you're going to be able to make a nice template to be able to fit that odd shape on your back wall. Here are the completed back false wall pieces. Here's the middle section where we had to make that template for the top, where we're going to have our fans, and then the bottom section as well. While we wait for the silicone to dry on these, let's go ahead and build our fans. So here we have our fan controller and fan system. I bought a fan controller off of Amazon. I'll go ahead and put the link down in the description for that. I'm using a Belkin power supply here, Rev B power supply. I picked this off of eBay. The model number, that's probably not going to pick up well here with the camera. So the model number though is BU3DC001-12V. And what's also important on your control and your power supply here is the output. It's a 12-volt output. I know you probably can't see that very well. You may have a wall wart sitting around that'll do the same thing. You just got to make sure it's 12-volt output with enough amps for your fans. Here we have 2 cords coming out the back. One is the power cord that you just plug into the wall. The second is going to be your 12-volt power supply out. That's going to have a plug that I just cut off. And then where I cut off the plug, I spliced in the 2 power wires for the fan controller. That's the yellow and black wires coming off your fan controller. And then this is the fan controller that we have. It's got 4 controls for 4 different fans. We're only going to use 1 and 2. And then over here we have our fans. We picked these up at Best Buy. These are just plain old computer fans. We got the 120 millimeter ones. The bigger they are, the little quieter they are, so move a lot of air really quietly. Just a standard fan plug here, and the plug for your fan controller. It's kind of the same plug. You can plug it into the one marked 1, and it'll work with the first knob on your controller. So you just plug her in here. Once you got it plugged in, you can see our fans spinning. And then we can go over here to the fan controller and adjust the speed with the knob. Now that the fan controller's done, we went ahead and mounted our fans. We used the hole saw to cut out the holes in this top incubator section. That made pretty good holes, but unfortunately we have little air gaps here on the side we're going to have to fill. We went ahead and siliconed the fans down in the corner, but you'll see here on the edges, probably easiest to see on this edge, that there's a little air gap here that we're going to have to silicone closed. And you may be wondering what kind of silicone we're using. You could use aquarium silicone. Anything that's aquarium safe should be safe for your incubator. But we went ahead and went to Walmart and got some silicone, which I've used this silicone before for aquarium projects. So this is GE all-purpose silicone. They have a couple silicones there. You want to make sure you're not getting the one with any mold inhibitors or toxins. So if you get the one that's marked up here in the corner as silicone 1, that is 100% silicone with no additives. And the reason we're using 2 fans here is redundancy. If one fan were to fail, the other fan will keep air flowing over at least one strip of heat tape and keep the incubator warm. So that's the importance of having the second fan. So now that we have all the pieces done, let's go ahead and get this incubator assembled. First thing you'll see here is we installed 2 strips of heat tape on the back using duct tape and a couple little spots of silicone just to make sure it doesn't come off. And then we also used some 2x4 blocks here on the bottom to create that air gap that we need to allow the air to come out the bottom of the false wall. And here's all 3 false wall pieces installed, and once we had the false wall done, we went ahead and filled the bottom drawers with water bottles to help as heat sinks when you open and close the door. We also bought these iris tubs. These are 12.9 quart tubs that we picked up at Costco. So here's the incubator done. We went ahead and used these holes over in the corner to run the cords for both the heat tape and the fans out to the back of the incubator. And how it works is the fans are here at the top, and they push air down through the false wall on the bottom over the heat tape, and then the warm air is coming out here at the bottom. And then the air travels back up through the incubator and recirculates through the fans. So it recirculates the warm air through the entire incubator. And up top here we have our thermostat, there's a Herpstat 2, and then we have our fan controller that's controlling the fan speed. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Alright, that's the incubator all put together and up and running. We can fit 12 of those 12.9 quart iris tubs. Now those are pretty big tubs and you can fit a really big clutch in those. So, on a smaller clutch we can probably use a smaller tub and fit more clutches in the incubator. But we wanted to see what kind of the minimum number of clutches we could possibly fit in there. So it's got a lot of space and we're really happy with how it turned out. We let it run for a week. Temperature looked really good. Top to bottom, it was less than right around a 1 degree swing. We had the probes for the temp controller in the middle of the incubator. The bottom of the incubator was running about a couple degrees, maybe 88.7, couple degrees or percents of a degree tenths of a degree under 89 where we had it set, and then the top was slightly above 89, maybe 89.4, 89.5. So really close to that 89 and held the temperature really well. So really happy with how it came out. Anything else?
Yeah, actually, Daryl mentioned the iris tubs. So if you have any questions about products that we used or any of the processes that we did, you want a little bit more information and go a little bit more in depth, definitely put your questions down below in the comments, and we'll get a chance to kind of see what you're looking for, and maybe we'll either answer you in the comments or we'll maybe even create another video on it.
Yeah, always looking for ideas for videos if you guys want to see anything. If there's anything in the incubator that was a little more complicated, I know we tried to really condense down the video to make it shorter and not make it, an hour-long video of building an incubator. So we kind of flew through some stuff really quick. If you have any questions, you want us to clarify anything, please just let us know, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. Anything else?
Yep, that's it. Thanks.
All right, with that, go ahead, and if you like what you saw, hit that thumbs up button. As always, subscribe. And if you want to know when we have our newest videos coming out, hit that notification bell. Thanks, everybody.